Iris.
Presents.
You can easily adapt maladaptive coping and substance abuse problems, and substance abuse has been studied by itself, and people enter rehab without sometimes really, we don't understand why they're there. We want them to stop using, but we don't really know why they're there. And we found that histories of abuse and violence can predict substance abuse. So without really dealing with the original root of the problem, many times people continue to use and they don't understand. Also, sex workers are more likely to have histories of abuse and violence. So we know there are lots of experiences that have a root in someone engaging in oppressive experiences with someone else, and then they don't understand and continue that pattern all through their lives without the help they need. They don't need to today. So sexual abuse prevention. First of all, I just want to let you know that sexual abuse is more common than people finishing college. I think that's important for you to know. If you sit in a row of three women, like these three women, I'm not saying that any of you has this history, but 1 in 3 of those women is likely to have this history before the age of 18. Now that's really shocking, isn't it? Now if 1 in 3 of them were smoking cigarettes, we would have a prevention program for them, wouldn't we? If 1 in 3 of them didn't use a seatbelt, we'd have an intervention for them, wouldn't we? We do. That did a huge ticket. But if 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men have a history of sexual abuse, what do we do about it in America? We rehire them as coaches? No. We hire and move them around the country when they preach the gospel who perpetrate these problems with children. We politicize it as not giving people religious freedom. We've used all kinds of excuses to understand or to not understand. This is a common epidemic in our society. We can't afford to allow it to happen. We can't afford to allow our children to be exposed to teachers. I testify for lawyers in California on teachers who abuse children. Let me tell you, it is so common. Between drilling holes in the walls of the girls' bathrooms or just befriending girls and boys as the teacher's pet. That doesn't mean what it used to mean. It used to mean you could hand out the pencils. Today it means that you go home with the teacher and you do whatever the teacher needs you to do. You really have to ask questions of people today about what are they doing in school with you? Why do you like that teacher so much? Why are you staying late after school? These are legitimate questions that we as adults have to learn to ask in order to know what's going on with children, because this is someone we told them to listen to, isn't it? Don't we tell children, listen to your teacher? Go to your religious institution and listen to that person. If the police come to you, police have rape survivors in my studies. In other words, people have called the police to report rape, and police rape them too. So there isn't anybody in our society that we can just give that carte blanche kind of control with. We need to know how to protect ourselves, okay? And we've also looked at abuse that's occurred after World War II and then on through the decades, up till today. And we found that sexual abuse is occurring in more violent ways. It used to be that after World War II, fondling of the breasts and the genitals was the most common experience. But today, it's oral, anal, and vaginal rape. And this is really important for you to remember. When you look at clinic samples, people who come to clinics, people in college samples, you see lower rates. Why? Because those tend to be a different organization of people than people who are living in the city, people who are income restricted, people in urban settings are more at risk. Why? Because there are more people in those areas, living in those areas, the population more dense. And 1 in 4 women report a history of rape. So what are some of the other problems that occur? People drink, as I've shared with you, they use drugs to deal with the anxiety that comes from these experiences. There's a lot of negative effects that occur as a result of someone taking control of your body, telling you that the reason that no one loves you, or you're not pretty enough, or you're not a good enough athlete, all kinds of excuses have been made, is because you need to learn how to better take care of yourself, and they're going to teach you. Symptoms of depression and upsetting memories and post-traumatic stress disorder are all these kinds of results. But self-medication is a way to make people know. A strong link between substance abuse treatment and centers and child sexual abuse, and I think I've already shared that with you. Men and women with dual diagnoses also many times have histories of abuse and trauma, but no one's ever asked them. And then we have higher rates of child sexual abuse in drug user samples. So what we see is abuse, drug use, maladaptive coping, and then risk for